Alright, everybody. I wanted to do a deck tech today that I call Step Through the Dungeon. That's for the Canadian Highlander format. And I wanted to do a deck tech mostly because I thought, it was a really fun deck to play. I played it a couple times now, and I think it has a lot of potential. So, I listed this card here because it's really just part of the deck name, which we play for Wizard Cycling, for a Surak the Archlich, who does happen to be a wizard. I'll remove him this for now. Really, this is the combo in the deck. There is another one, which we'll get to later, but what Aluren lets you do is, this is a symmetrical effect, of course, but any player can play a creature card with CMC, or I guess now it's mana value, 3 or less, whenever they can play an instant, and without paying its mana cost. So this lets you play a Sirach. I'm going to mess this name up a couple times, but you can play the Archlich for free. It enters play, and then when he enters the battlefield, if you haven't completed the Tomb of Annihilation, you return him to your hand and you venture into the dungeon. So you get to choose one of these, and then he has some other text that doesn't really matter because he only cares about if you've completed the Tomb of Annihilation. You will never enter the Tomb of Annihilation. You'll only ever enter these two dungeons. And typically what you're going to do is cast the Archlich. You haven't completed that dungeon, so you return to your hand, you enter. You cast again, you create a treasure. Cast again, you go to the dark pool, you drain your opponent for 1. Cast again, you draw a card. Now it's important to note these are all triggers, so you can respond to them at any time. Or you can respond to them by casting the Archlich again, so that you don't have to draw your deck. You can just respond to the last trigger, or you can go through the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, do some other things to get value, depending where you are. Yeah, so that's the combo of the deck. Now let's talk about some of the pieces that make this deck work. Here we have the points list for this deck. Now, as you'll see, we are running Thassa's Oracle. On August 9th, the points list changed. This was increased to 2 points. So that the August 9th points list is the one I'm using here. Don't know when you'll see this video if the points have changed. Maybe this will have gone up to 3 or whatever. But as of August 9th, these are the points. I have 2 for Thassa's Oracle, 2 for Spellseeker, 1 for Intuition, 1 for Tainted Pact, and 4 for Demonic Tutor. There is the classic combo, I guess, of Thassa's Oracle, Tainted Pact. So we have no duplicate cards in our deck, including basics. We run snow-covered basics if we need, or non-snow-covered. I'll get over that in a sec. Spellseeker, which can find either the Tainted Pact combo, some other creature tutor, to find the Archlich if you have the Aluren in play. Of course, either of these you can cast with flash, or at flash speed when you have the Aluren in play, just to let you find some things. We do have some intuition packages in here as well, and most of our points, 4 of them, are in the Demonic Tutor. There are some variations you could do if you're wanting to play this deck. For example, you could remove the Demonic Tutor. You could play Gifts Ungiven for 2 points and use your other 2 points somewhere else. Maybe you wanted to use Dig Through Time or Treasure Cruise as the other 2. I've decided, because I don't necessarily just want to be a Thassa's Oracle deck, I want to have both options, and Demonic Tutor is just so strong in, finding an extra land drop if you need it, finding a counterspell if you need it, finding removal, finding your combo pieces. So that's why I've chosen to go with Demonic Tutor. It's a lot easier to screw up if you're playing some other cards like the Gifts Ungiven. You have to do a lot more mental gymnastics of thinking, and I thought, okay, you know what? I don't get much time to play, I'm just going to choose the Profane Tutor, tried and tested maniac. Yeah, so this is our points for the deck, and I think it's a pretty good spread. Of course, if you want to try this out, you can do anything you want, and let me know how that works for you. So I wanted to go over a little bit of the Aluren package. As I said, this as we started the video, this is the main Aluren combo in the deck, and really I would consider these the only other two cards that are Aluren specific. And really, it's just so good generally that it doesn't need to be there. But Cavern Harpy for sure. So if you wanted to play this deck but you wanted to cut the Aluren package, really I think you could just cut these three cards and change them with something else. But if you do want to stay true to playing Aluren, these four I think are the best engines that you have. I'm not playing a lot of the older Aluren decks, and this is a while ago now. We're playing recruiters, like Recruiter of the Guard. You find different creatures that bounce the recruiter. You cast the recruiter again. You think it gets you a lot of protection, but at the cost of having to play some less than great cards. These are the cards that I've decided on for my Aluren package, and there's a couple things you could see here. So we talked about Aluren and the Archlich. The other great one is Aluren and Uro. You can cast Uro, put his sacrifice trigger on the stack, and then the draw trigger on the stack. Use the draw trigger. Maybe you put a land into play or not. And in response to the sacrifice trigger, you can cast Cavern Harpy. When it enters, you return a blue or black creature. Uro's blue, so you get to return Uro to your hand, and then you pay a life to return Cavern Harpy to your hand. The sacrifice trigger goes off, you don't care about it. Cast it again, you do the same thing. And basically what it's going to let you do is gain 2 life, draw a card for this, which lets you find either the Archlich which lets you do through this loop, or you could draw your entire deck and then cast the Oracle just to win with an empty deck. So there's a couple things you can do. I figured these would be my main Aluren cards. Sorry, not the Oracle, but these would be my main Aluren cards, because I think Cavern Harpy has a lot of synergy with other cards in the deck, like Spellseeker. If you're casting a Spellseeker, great. Maybe early it finds you something, and then you can cast Cavern Harpy, bounce it, cast it again later. Same thing here. And then these 2 cards are in a lot of Aluren lists, which just let you draw cards. Whenever they enter, they're drawing cards. You can cast the Harpy, return it. These are good both early or late. So couple cards for Aluren here, but I would consider these 4 the main ones. I want to talk quick about some tutors here. So the first tutor, Step Through, which is somewhat what I named the deck around. Step Through the Dungeon. The main reason I'm playing this is for wizard cycling. Instant speed, we get to find a wizard. The 2 main wizards we're finding, Thassa's Oracle or the Archlich. These are both wizards that let you win the game if you have the other requisite piece in play, or rather in your hand. So this is really a fantastic card. And as a last resort, you could always use it to bounce 2 creatures if you need. The other 2 tutors here, I have Profane Tutor. This card has been very good. It's a setup tutor, so it's a little bit slow, but it allows you to play through it. The way I guess I look through it is it allows you to play through 2 turns, see what your opponent is doing, what you need to get, if your plan has changed at all, what you've drawn in that time, and then when you do cast it on that turn 2 turns later, you don't have to pay anything for it. So you're totally untapped, your mana's untapped, you're ready to go, you get an extra card, and worst is it trades 1 for 1. Like they just counter Tutors later, and you're like, okay, well, that's fine. And then the last tutor here that I want to talk about is Eldamri's Call. You can find this with Spellseeker. It finds Spellseeker as well, or anything else you need. This is a very good card, and it's one of the main reasons I still have some white in the deck. I've thought about a Sultai version, and I've tested it a little bit, but I really just like the 4 colors with the white as the smallest color provider. Okay, this might not be the most exciting section, but these are our lands. We're playing 36 lands. We have 4 basics, 3 snow covered, just because it has the slight helping of our Icefang Coatl, and then everything else is all singleton lands. I think, oh yeah, actually this is maybe the only land we'll talk about really. I'm playing a couple of filter lands because you do have a Cryptic Command in the deck, and you do want like double blue. I think double blue is what we want the most, maybe a little bit of double green, and that's why I'm playing Yavimaya. We don't have too much green, but for Aluren, that's a double green, so the Yavimaya can really help you there. Other than that, yeah, like I mentioned, 36 lands helps you stay consistent. The four basics help you, find basics when you get pathed or whatever the case is. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about the lands. All right, here we are at the sorcery section of the deck. Some of these we've already talked about. I just wanted to highlight kind of what the roles are. So we have some control here. I guess mostly discard. This is discard, removal, a little bit of drain if you're falling a little behind. Ways to find our cards, just all these draw or help filter. A couple removal spells. Prismatic Ending, I'm sure you know if you're watching this recently or near where I put this video out, you'll know Prismatic Ending is doing a lot of work. And Bloodchief's Thirst, I really like for killing an early Wrenn and 6 or killing early Goblin Guides, whatever it is. I really like that as a 1-mana answer to a couple things. Here's some of our tutors, like we mentioned, really strong. I've made this like a utility section. Some Unearth and Reanimates, those are for an intuition pile. Seagate Stormcaller lets you just double up on a couple things, maybe double Ponder, maybe double Opt, a couple things like that. The Eternal Witness, again, is for intuition piles, or maybe if you need to go off with Aluren in a different way, get something back. And the Leovold as a control card. A couple Planeswalkers here. Play really good ones. Liliana the Last Hope, Teferi, Time Raveler, and Oko, Thief of Crowns. These are just going to help you control things. And then some of the other cards we talked about, the Oracle, and then our Aluren package here. So this is our sorcery speed. A lot of it you'll find is lower on the mana cost. I don't know if I can do this all, but basically what we're trying to do here is, if we have control of the game, great, we can drop something big, and if we don't, we can hold up, we can do some removal or try and get control, and then when we get to the next section, you'll see what we're doing when we aren't holding up mana, or when we are holding up mana. So those are what I would consider the sorcery sections of the deck, and obviously we're playing some good cards. Okay, here are the 36 cards in the instant speed section of our deck. I've put Thassa's Intervention so you can read it. Maybe it's the most suspect card in the counterspell section that we have here. I really like it. You can use it as a counterspell, but I prefer using it as a draw 2. If you choose X's 2, you get to look at the top 2 and put them in your hand. It doesn't count as a draw, So it gets around certain things like Narset, Parter of Veils, or Hullbreacher. And if you do it for more than 2, if you do it for 5, it's like a dig through time. You look at the top 5, you choose 2, whatever X is. I think it's really versatile in that section, so it can be used as a draw or a counterspell, and I like it quite a lot. Then we have some of our removal, just really general ones, right? An Assassin's Trophy, the Abrupt Decay, Eliminate to get rid of opposing Okos or Teferis, or Goblin Rabble Master. And then some very good removal spells with Swords and Fatal Push. Couple draw spells. Again, I've put Peak up front here because, well, not a lot of people play Peak. I'm playing Peak instead of Gitaxian Probe because I don't really want to pay 2 life for it, but I do want to know what's going on. And if I can do it at instant speed, perfect. It's just a way to draw a card. Know if you're safe to go for an Aluren kill or not. And yeah, Brainstorm, Impulse, and Opt to finish that out. These are all of our flash creatures with various different effects. Some of them are wizards that you could search for. Others are just very good if your opponent is, searching for wizards. Couple threats that let you play well against the control decks. Flash a 3/1 into play, hit them a couple times, and force them to respond to you. Then I have 2, I guess, utility cards here. Ephemerate you can find with your Spellseeker. Lets you keep finding other things, like a Creature Tutor, and go through the Eternal Witness loops if you need. Cling to Dust as a graveyard hate. It is, I guess it's pretty much a draw spell here, so I'll put it in the draw spell. Ephemerate, I don't really know where it goes, but there's a lot of creatures we play that we want to protect or have good ETBs that we want to reuse. So Ephemerate, I think, is a pretty good card here. And then just some other cards that we've already mentioned at instant speed, our Tutors, Creature, things like that. And that will be the deck tech, guys. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys do some venturing into the dungeon. And I hope the Archlich does you well. Thanks again.